Hi everyone, it is Caitlin. For those of you that are watching for the first time, I am one of the chemistry lecturers that teaches across all 4 years of the Forensic Investigation programme. In this series of videos, staff will be expanding on key types of evidence that you will likely come across during your time at GCU. Today is going to focus on the marker that was found on the table. Was it the one used to write that ransom note? There are 2 types of evidence we might be able to recover here. The first is fingerprints, which was mentioned a few weeks ago in an earlier video, but there is a caveat. How can you be sure that the prints, if found, belong to the assailant? And how do we know that the marker was the one used to write that ransom note? Associating the marker with that ransom note requires some good old-fashioned science work. This might include chromatography techniques, spectroscopy and/or microscopy. At GCU, you will get a chance to learn and use each technique mentioned. For now, I am going to focus on chromatography and show you a very simple experiment that you can complete at home. You might want to grab a cup of water, some porous paper such as a kitchen towel paper, cut it into thin strips, a pencil and a few different coloured markers. Selecting the same colour but different brands might produce some interesting results. Once you have a cup of water, take that porous paper and with the pencil you should draw a straight line about 1 centimetre away from the bottom end of the paper. This is just a starting point. After, create an ink dot using one of the markers. Use different strips of paper for different markers. The final step is to add the end of the paper to a cup of water and watch as the water travels. It's important to note that you should try not to submerge the ink dot in the water, as this can contaminate it and cause fake results. You might see pretty colours travelling with the water, or you might see absolutely nothing. It all depends on the nature of the marker used. So what is happening? Ink is made up of many different pigments, and it is the pigments that interacts with the paper and the water. If you see a lot of pretty colours, mainly yellows, pinks, purples and blue, then you can be sure that the marker ink used is soluble, i.e. it mixes with water. If you see nothing, then the marker ink is insoluble, doesn't like water. This is the first comparison that can be made between the marker on the table and the ink on the board. Also characteristic is the distance travelled by the pigments within a given time and the colours that appear. Now this experiment is simple but allows a rapid comparison between samples. I should also add that this is the most basic example for chromatography, but a very good place to start before you use the instruments. To go back to our first point, what is so interesting about the marker? Well, we might be able to recover fingerprints, but whether it is of interest to the crime, it's unknown. What might help is to confirm that the marker was the one used to write that note. The only way we can do that is by using forensic techniques. Pop back later to hear more about the evidence at the crime scene and an introduction to one of your other lecturers. Enjoy the rest of your day and the sunshine.